The Sodder Family Mystery, Christmas Eve, 1945. A quiet home in the hills of West Virginia begins to burn in the middle of the night. Inside the house are 10 children. 5 escape. 5 are never seen again. But here is the part that makes this story truly unsettling. No bodies were ever found. No bones, no remains, nothing. The official story says the missing children died in the fire. But for decades, the Sodder family believed something far more disturbing had happened. Tonight's story takes us to the small Appalachian town of Fayetteville, West Virginia. Welcome to the Hidden Mind Archive. This is the Sodder Family Mystery. The Sodder house stood on a quiet hillside overlooking the town. It was a large white frame home, warm with the glow of Christmas lights and the distant smell of coal smoke drifting through the winter air. Inside lived George and Jenny Sodder and their 10 children. George had immigrated from Italy years earlier and built a successful trucking business. The family was well known in town, hardworking, lively, and by all accounts, happy. On the night of December 24th, 1945, the Sodder home was alive with the sounds of Christmas Eve. Children laughing, wrapping paper rustling, the radio humming softly in the background. Outside, the mountains of West Virginia sat quiet beneath a cold winter sky. Inside, no one could have imagined that within hours, everything would change. Just after midnight, the house finally settled into silence. Jenny Sodder was the last to go to bed, but not long after. The phone rang. A strange voice asked for someone Jenny didn't recognize. She told them they had the wrong number and hung up. Then she noticed something odd. The lights were still on downstairs and the doors unlocked. She switched them off, locked up the house, and returned to bed. But around 1 a.m., Jenny woke suddenly. She smelled smoke. Downstairs, flames had already begun climbing the walls. The fire spread quickly. George and Jenny rushed their children awake. 4 of the kids, sleeping upstairs, managed to escape with their parents. But 5 children were still inside the house. Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty. Their bedrooms were on the upper floor, now surrounded by flames. George ran outside, desperate to reach them. Normally, a ladder leaned against the side of the house, but when he ran to grab it, the ladder was gone. In a desperate attempt, George looked toward his coal trucks parked nearby. He had an idea. If he could drive one of the trucks close enough, he could climb onto it and reach the upstairs windows. But when he tried to start the truck, nothing happened. The engine wouldn't turn over. He ran to the second truck. That one wouldn't start either. Meanwhile, the fire was growing stronger by the second. Inside the house, the 5 children were trapped. Neighbors soon noticed the flames lighting up the dark hillside. They rushed to call the fire department. But Fayetteville's fire station had no immediate response system. The firefighters had to be gathered manually. By the time help finally arrived, the Sodder house had already burned to the ground. At sunrise, the ruins of the house were still smoking. Fire officials began searching the ash and debris, but almost immediately, something strange became clear. There were no remains of the 5 children, not a single bone, not a fragment of bone. Nothing. Officials claimed the fire had simply burned too hot, but experts later pointed out something important. House fires rarely burn hot enough to completely destroy human remains. Even in cremations, bones are still left behind. But here, there was nothing. George and Jenny Sodder refused to believe their children had died in that fire. They were certain the children had somehow escaped, or worse, that someone had taken them. Soon, more unsettling details began to surface. The ladder that George needed to reach the children was later discovered thrown down an embankment nearby. The phone line to the house had been cut, not burned in the fire, cut. And remember the 2 coal trucks that refused to start? Investigators later discovered someone had tampered with their engines. Even more chilling, witnesses reported seeing a strange man around the Sodder house days before the fire. One man had approached George and warned him that his house would one day go up in flames. Another had been seen examining the home's fuse box. At the time, George dismissed these encounters as odd, but harmless. But after the fire, they felt much more ominous. In the days that followed, reports began coming in from across the region. A woman running a nearby hotel claimed she had seen the missing Sodder children the morning after the fire, traveling in a car with 2 adults. Another witness at a roadside diner said the children stopped there for breakfast. They appeared frightened and were being closely watched by the adults with them. But when police tried to follow up on these leads, nothing came of them. No arrests, no suspects, no explanation. For years, the Sodder family refused to accept the official story. They placed a large billboard along a nearby highway with photos of the missing children, offering a reward for any information. They hired private investigators, followed every rumor, chased every lead. Decades passed. Then, in 1967, something arrived in the mail. A photograph. Inside the envelope was a picture of a young man. On the back was a message. It read, "Louis Sodder. I love brother Frankie, lil boys. A 90132. The Sodders believed the man in the photograph looked remarkably like their missing son Louis, now grown. But once again, the trail went cold. Today, the Sodder house is long gone. The hillside where it once stood is quiet again, but the mystery remains. Did the 5 children truly perish in the fire, or were they taken and raised somewhere else entirely? More than 70 years later, no one knows for certain. And that is what makes the Sodder Family Mystery one of the most haunting unsolved cases in American history. What do you think happened to the Sodder children? Let us know your comments below, because some mysteries fade with time, others grow deeper the longer they remain unanswered. The Sodder family spent the rest of their lives searching for the truth, and perhaps somewhere that truth still exists, hidden in old records, forgotten memories, or a story someone has yet to tell. Thank you for exploring the unknown with us tonight. And until the next case is uncovered, welcome back anytime to the Hidden Mind Archive, because there are still many mysteries waiting in the dark.